Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A greeting of peace from my sitting room here in the Caribbean island of Trinidad on this, the 6th day of the month of Jumadi al-Ula, and our topic is a strange one: Gog, Magog, Qatar, and World Cup 2022. What does Gog and Magog have to do with Qatar and with World Cup 2022? Well, our first observation is that in sports, on the battlefield of the football field or the cricket field, the table tennis field, whatever it is, it should be a level playing field, with no one having an advantage over the other. And so Saudi Arabia could defeat, Argentina? And Tunisia could defeat France? And Japan that defeated Germany? I can't remember, because I'm not following the World Cup completely, but I did get this information. So it's more of a level playing field, where you don't start off with any privileged position. You don't have an advantage over others. You're born with an advantage. You're a chosen people. No. This is how it ought to be in the market as well. So as we see Saudi Arabia defeating, I believe it was Argentina, we ask ourselves, why can't it be like that in the marketplace as well? Why can't it be like that in the monetary system as well? Why is it that the Western world must have an advantage over the rest of mankind? Why is it that the Western world must have a privileged position? They have hard currency. Yes, they have hard currency, and we don't have that. Their currency is used for business. When we want to travel, we can't travel with Pakistani rupees or Bangladeshi taka. No, you have to have hard currency. You need euros, you need US dollars, you need British pounds. So they have a demand, a built-in demand for their paper. That's not a level playing field. If we all had gold and silver coins as money, now that is a level playing field, because it is Allah who produces the gold. But if with the paper, they can print as much as they want. Now they have electronic money, they can print as much as they want, they can make as much money as they want. And all the goats and the sheep and the cattle and the camels in the world who have nothing but peanuts in their head will accept it as valid money. Yes. So Qatar 2022 should tell us that in the same way that in a level playing field for football or soccer or cricket, a Saudi Arabia could defeat an Argentina, so too on the level playing field of the market, of monetary economics, of international trade and so on. If we had a level playing field, the West would not be permanently rich and the rest of the world permanently poor and going further and further down into destitution and slavery, and having to economic migrants, refugees floating all over the seas trying to get into the West to get some bread. This is the first lesson we've learned from Qatar 2022. But there's something else, something sinister that's going on. And that is even in the build-up to the World Cup. A people who the Quran has described as Gog and Magog. I don't go to the Hadith first to answer the question of who is Gog and Magog. I go to the Quran because absolute truth is in the Quran. As the Quran tells me that Gog and Magog, when they are released into the world, they're going to commit fasad. And the Quran tells me that they're going to spread out all over the world. So there is going to be an event which will occur only once in human history. Are you listening? Tomorrow I'll no longer be in this world. The voice will not be here speaking anymore. Listen to me now. This is an event which will occur only once in history. That a people will emerge who will be trademark, would be corruption, fasad, and a corruption which is destructive in nature. And this corruption will spread all over the world. وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ إِنَّ يَأْجُوجَ وَمَأْجُوجَ مُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. But more importantly, that these people, Gog and Magog, who have the trademark of corruption and oppression, they are also so powerful that only Allah can destroy them. This is Sahih Muslim. This is not in the Quran. But in the Quran, there's something which corresponds to the hadith. That when Zulkarnain, who was given power by Allah to pursue whatever he wants to pursue, any errand, any mission, and when he came upon a people and Allah asked him, what would you use, how would you treat them with your power? He says, those who are committing fasad, those who are committing zulm, I will use my power to punish them. And when they return to you, you will also punish them. But when Gog and Magog, Zulkarnain came into that position where Gog and Magog were committing fasad, and the people have said to him, Zulkarnain will pay you if you will build a barrier. Can you build a barrier? He should have said, I don't need to build a barrier, I have the power, I'll go and destroy them. No, he doesn't have the power to destroy Gog and Magog. Russia does not have the power to destroy Gog and Magog. So all that he can do is to contain them, not destroy them. And so then when Gog and Magog are released from behind that barrier that he built, the Quran says that will be the cue, that the people who were expelled from a town because of Allah destroyed them. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. These people are banned, they can never return to reclaim that town as their own. This is Surah Al-Anbiya. حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. But they will return to their town to reclaim it as their own only when Gog and Magog are released and they spread out all over the world. Then you see these people being brought back to that town. I have been saying it for 20, 25 years now. The town is Jerusalem. I've written Jerusalem in the Quran 20 years ago. But the sheep and the cattle and the goats and the camels with only peanuts in their head. No. Gog and Magog will only be reached when Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns. Wait and see what will be the price you'll have to pay for your arrogance. Wait and you'll see what is the price you'll have to pay for your ignorance and for your betrayal of the Quran. Wait and you'll see. I'm tired of you. And so who are those who brought the Jews back to Jerusalem? Yes, it's Jerusalem. To reclaim Jerusalem as their own. Who brought them back? Answer, it is modern Western civilization. And so Gog and Magog are those who control power in the modern West. Whether you accept it or you don't, it makes no difference. This is the truth. I am proclaiming the truth while I still have life to tell you to your faces. This is the truth. And we see this corruption, we see the fasad in Qatar. When they wanted to change the bad word homosexuality, they use a word called gay. Yes, this is the corruption of language. They call them gay. What, gay? Gay is supposed to be something gay, something nice. But you take that word, you hijack that word, and you call the homosexual someone who is gay. You are corrupting language to hide your filth. You are corrupting language to hide your perversion. You are corrupting language to hide your betrayal of the truth. And then when they wanted to slaughter the Arabs, to prepare the way for Israel to expand, they called it the Arab Spring. No, it wasn't the Arab Spring. It was the end of the Arab world, because they were preparing the Arabs for slaughter. And now when they want to bring the perverted sexuality, the new philosophy of gender, with lesbianism, and a man can marry another man and get a marriage certificate, when they want to take this garbage and this rubbish and make it look like something good and hide it behind a screen, they call it LBG, something like that. I don't even know what it is. I call it LBG XYZ. You annoyed with me? You annoyed with me? Yes, I call it LBG XYZ. And guess who is pushing this agenda in Qatar, in the World Cup? It is the Western world. Don't you have any sense in your head? Can't you see that all the corruption is coming there? And poor Qatar is trying to resist it. And guess which country has stood up to them and slapped them in their faces? Not Pakistan, because the Pakistan National Assembly adopted some resolution in support of that filthy sexual agenda, feminist agenda. That's what those baboons in the Pakistan National Assembly did. But Russia struck them on their face, slapped them on their faces, and Russia adopted the Russian law prohibiting this LBGXYZ. No, you can't have it in film, you can't have it in theater, you can't have it in movies, you can't have it. It is banned in Russia. And yet you have the stupidity to tell me Russia is a Zionist state. And yet you are supporting the West against Russia. Don't you have any sense? Who is standing up for the truth? Who is standing up for the truth in the world today? Is it Pakistan? Or is it Russia? Standing up against the LBGXYZ. Standing up to say this is a perversion of our traditional way of life. And we want to preserve the family. So we are banning it in Russia. This is what you should be looking at when you study what's happening in Qatar today. It's a level playing field for football. So why can't it be a level playing field for truth as well? No, they control all the media. Tomorrow I may not be allowed to travel. Tomorrow I may not be allowed to travel. That's their level playing field. Tomorrow I may not be allowed to travel. I may not be allowed to enter this country or that country. Tomorrow my website, my this and my that might be shut down. That is their level playing field. Don't they have any shame? This is the corruption that comes from the modern West. Not all. We have honorable people living in the West. We have people who can think and who are challenging that destructive system that is reducing Britain to an atheist state, to a land in which religion is collapsing. And while religion is collapsing in Britain, our sheep and our cattle and goats and camels still want a visa to go and live in Britain. Where has sense gone? Where has intelligence gone? We should be taking the way out. We should be making hijrah out of the West and finding a place to live amongst our own people. وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ. This is what Surah Al-Kahf has said. And as you celebrate what's happening in Qatar, remember that after Qatar, you have to find a place on Allah's earth where you can seek refuge from the corruption that is embracing all of the world today. And in Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran, Allah says, let your heart be content in seeking the company of those who call on their Lord God morning and evening, seeking His very face with utmost sincerity. Look where in the world do you find such people, and go and live amongst them. And so let us continue to see what's happening in Qatar and take a lesson on the importance of a level playing field. And so too you'll have a level playing field for news, a level playing field for knowledge, for information, a level playing field for money, a level playing field for the market. But those who are the people of Gog and Magog, they don't want a level playing field. They want to corrupt all of mankind. And it's time for us to resist them. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.